Nina, and we're doing athletics and campus recreation. We're going to start off with a little activity. You should have some green sheets on your tables. And just make a list of the different activities, intramurals your campus provided, and star which ones that you participated in.
And we'll give you 30 seconds. Ready?
Wait, is this only like sports?
Yeah.
Is this involvement as a student or is this
Undergrad,
Either
like,
or.
we're spend most of our time.
just intramural sports?
Intramurals is within your campus, extramurals is outside. It's a good question to have. I hope we can clarify that for you today. 15 seconds.
We had
Oh, you guys are getting so much less jumpy. Dang it.
Yeah, so just shout out like what you participated in and how many you did with the Bailey? Choir.
Does that count?
Choir, we can't. If our athletics and campus recreation. So, what was your choir? Or how was your choir part of?
Oh.
Clarification. An activity, a non-sports. Go ahead and just shout them out. Tennis.
Dance swimming lessons and lifeguarded.
Aquatics.
dance team.
Dance team.
Marching band.
Marching band. Get that. Intramurals. We're kind of crossing lines.
Used rec center.
Anybody else have one that's not been mentioned?
Exercise.
The rec programs.
What was that?
Programs that recreation put on for students.
So like special events?
Football games.
Going for football games?
Hockey games.
There's varsity athletics. So you're kind of seeing that activities and sports can kind of get into a humble jumble of, they can be a lot of things at a campus depending upon where you are, what facilities are there, and what's offered. And so that's kind of what Emily and I ran into too, is because there's a lot of crossover that happens. Because if you're looking at, you have one facility, that is going to encompass varsity sports. It's going to encompass sports groups. It's going to encompass intramurals. It's going to encompass extramurals. So lots of things are happening at a campus, and sometimes it gets hard to define it, especially under this area of athletics and campus recreation. Click away. So the mission, campus recreation programs have a mission of providing a variety of programs open to all students, regardless of participants' abilities. Primary outcomes of campus recreation programs include enhancing students' learning experiences and improved quality of campus life. So essentially, it's trying to hit at that whole student. What are the voluntary things that students are getting involved in outside of academic life? Some of the issues within just this mission statement are looking at, well, what facilities are there? How accessible and how accommodating are these to students that are, say, non-athletes at the school versus those that are involved in athletics? Can you go play basketball at any time in the day, or is there specific times that you can go in there? With this mission statement, wanting it to be integrated and inclusive to all, looking at students that have varying ability levels, and specifically in the sports realm, you have a lot of times that intramurals and activities are broken into individualized areas, as far as you might have the more of the recreational side of a league, and then you might have the competitive side of a league. So I guess it's those varying levels are going to look different at different schools, but it's in an effort to make things more inclusive. So even if you didn't play that sport in high school or prior to coming into college, that there's some way for you to get out and at least give it a try.
And then what's included under the realm of activities and campus recreation, intramurals, they're like internal clubs where students can come together and create their own teams and compete against other teams within the institution. And extramurals, I just learned about it, I didn't know they existed. is where you create your own teams like intramurals, except you go to other campuses and compete with their in-house teams. And then fitness is like a gym where you can either have a membership where you buy it semesterly or yearly and it's a small fee, or it's included in your tuition. And wellness, some schools offer massage therapy, nutritionists, personal trainers to help with the overall wellness. And outdoor activities, some schools offer kayaking, canoeing, excursions where you pay for like $30 to go to Boundary Waters, and rope courses and team building activities.
So a lot of the interviews that were conducted went to a variety of campuses, and my alma mater is River Falls, and so I always just assumed that every program looked the same. And boy, we had great opportunities and great experiences to get to do things with recreation, and then I was kind of shocked to see at what points at different institutions were. So the first interview was with Steve Stocker, and his title there is Director of Recreation and Sports Facilities. He has a background in physical education and is coach, and he went through, he actually graduated from River Falls, and they were really excited because he graduated and went into teaching. And then along the way just decided that wasn't where he wanted to be. And then back at the university, decided that he wanted to pursue things in facilities management. So this realm of facilities management encompasses, whether the upkeep on the track, on the fields, on the ice rinks. So that's kind of where his passion lied. And he kind of talked about how that becomes a generalist role, because you're not only dealing with the clubs and sports teams, but you're dealing with just the everyday student that's coming in and wanting to use facilities. So his emphasis was starting the day off, getting everything clean, make sure there's safety checks, and kind of doing the behind the scenes stuff. So I think that is a person that is not oftentimes seen on campus, but plays a critical role in making sure that facilities are maintained. And I think it's a struggle that he faced, but that other interviewees faced, was really making inclusive environments for all. There's that stigma that if I go into the weight room and it's a bunch of like jocks and football players working out, I'm not going to want to stay in here. And I think we've all experienced things like that, whether you walk into a gym, and if you're at a high-end, like St. Paul Athletic Club, or if you walk into a YMCA, you're going to find different places that you feel like there's a more comfortable fit. And I think from a lot of their ends, as far as looking at what can we do to make things more inclusive, is where we're turning and looking at ways to do that and to advocate for all. And Steve really talked about two things that are evolving, especially at River Falls, are things like a bike program, and there's a lot more push for wellness. So it's looking at this, what can we do if you're not, this amazing athlete, but just wellness, and how can we incorporate the whole campus into that and really push for those initiatives. And River Falls is also building a brand new multi-million-dollar facility, and it's something that is really desperately needed there. And so if you look on the first page of our handout, there's a quote on there, and it's basically talking about attracting and retaining quality students to a campus is a competitive business, and by providing a fresh and innovative environment stands out of the rest. A college university can get a jump start on the competition. So really, when you're bringing potential students to a campus, a lot of the trend now is looking at what facilities and what things that they offer, and can students see a fit there. So at River Falls, they're hoping that attracts more students, and Steve has been really influential on looking at how do we create inclusive spaces, how do we divide up facilities so that there's opportunities for all. And then at private four-year college, Lamar Shingles, who is a friend of Jane's, he's the director of campus recreation. There wasn't a huge campus recreation program there before Lamar kind of stepped up, and he actually wrote his own position description. I asked him if he had any things that he would have liked to add or omit to that, and he was like, well, you just work some things out along the way. But he also has a huge student affairs background as far as working from Res Life to multicultural services. So it's great because he brings with him that whole student affairs piece and developing the whole student. So that a lot of our interview involved about talking about how students can develop and really seeing students grow. And it really just, I think, looking at what they have at blah 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 at Hamlin, it's comprehensive. So they're trying to include community, faculty, students, staff all together. And then I think Tom, I can't pronounce his last name. He is from Iceland, and so he is not only the intramurals director, but he also is a coach. And so that's at a D3 school where oftentimes you're going to have people that are in that realm that are working and filling many hats. And so he has to do a lot of scheduling and programming, and a lot more of the behind-the-scenes stuff again. So I think this is something that if you're looking into as a career, it's really doing the budgets and balancing facilities and talking to who you need to on the campus to make sure that scheduling is there. And it's, sometimes more hours in the day that you want to put in. McAllister also was voted the #2 recreational facility in the nation. And it's a huge facility. They're traditionally known for more of the academic rigor end of things than for athletics. But all of their fees are included in their student tuition. So students have a real advantage with being able to go in there kind of whenever they want and have a lot of access. And then I think the last one.
And access.
Yeah. access, go to McAllister. And then the last interview was at Inver Hills Community College, and they used to be traditional. They had varsity teams that would play, and it was looked at as a really kind of innovative, kind of the only college around that had all these programs. And then with budget cuts, that changed. Tom has been there as a student, as a worker, and now it's been like almost 40 years. So he's huge. He has a huge impact there. And really, he talked about how the facilities there, they're not the greatest, but getting commuter students and finding the time for students to be active on campus is something he strives for. So it looks a little bit different there, where a lot of times it's like pickup games, and you just come and play, on a volleyball team, and you just sub in and go around. It's going to look different every time you play. So it looks very different at all 4 campuses. But overall things, every one of these people talked about joining NERSA and how it's very family-oriented feeling. You make a lot of connections. Working on a campus keeps you young. When you're looking at wellness initiatives and things, what's the next new and upcoming thing? Talking a lot about technology, everything from Fitbits to Garmin's. Students want to know how they can stay active, stay well. And as there was kind of a recession in the economy, the only real area that's grown is like recreation and wellness. So looking at that ahead as trends are things that campuses really need to encompass.
So campus rec and athletics and developing the whole student. You may have noticed we're wearing our Gopher gear. So athletics.
Camaraderie.
Yeah. So athletics, whether you're participating in varsity athletics, they have tutors and nutritionists that help develop the athlete. And athletics bring together the rest of the campus community so you can cheer them on, creates morale. And then campus recreation supplements the learning process by teaching the students helping students' physical needs and helping with their mental health by de-stressing. And it also helps with independence, going out and creating your own teams, and creates a sense of community. It also improves your social skills.
And a quick kind of look at the evolution of campus recreation. As with everything that we've learned about high ed, it starts with a bunch of white guys, and then it evolved. So it began predominantly as a male-based intramurals and athletics in the 19th century. So it started as a very minority of students, predominantly male, and also white males. And then it expanded in with the Title IX Education Amendment, and there became more females on campus saying, hey, we need a voice, we need to be able to participate in these things. Currently, prospective student enrollment numbers have been linked to the availability and quality of recreational facilities. So like I said before, it's a big selling point when you can show students all of the things that they can do, from facilities to what else is available on the campus. And again, that was reiterated in those interviews. And currently there's more of an initiative for group fitness and wellness programs along with aquatics. So that was a big thing again. It's how can we bring everybody together and have more people included in this. And then looking ahead, Milton and Patton did a study that found increased awareness linked between physical well-being and overall wellness. The general U.S. population has clamored for recreational opportunities that foster a lifetime of physical activity. Therefore, colleges, municipalities, even countries needed to be prepared for an extensive increase in interest and use of recreational facilities and programs. So it's trending, it's everywhere, and I think we all see kind of this wellness initiatives from billboards to, just what are you doing? Are you wearing a pedometer? How are you tracking your fitness goals? So that's something that's right around the bend. So we have a little healthy living activity for you guys.
So you've got 4.5 minutes left total to include questions, just so you know.
Okay, so we'll kind of hand this out, and looking ahead at this, this is called Looking Good, Feeling Good. It's a way for you to kind of track how you've done this week and then give you an idea of how to look ahead at the weeks. You can look at your stress levels. So there's the up arrows for yes, that's something I'm doing, and then there's the down arrows for yep, maybe didn't accomplish that this week. So basically, under these wellness initiatives, it's looking at nutrition, fun, exercise, social support, and rest. So if you went through week 1, looking at this past week, how did you rank on there? Would you give yourself an up arrow? Would you give yourself a down arrow? And you go through each one of these, and 1 through 5 tend to correlate to how 6 and 7 go up or down for you. So really, again, this is kind of looking at this initiative of, it doesn't matter if you're the best, well-inclined athlete that can go out there and do all these things. What are you doing for your own physical well-being and staying aware of what you're doing, what you're intaking, what you're inhaling, and what you're exhaling. So this is just a little self-assessment that you can do.
Did you create this?
This is from Student Success Skills. So this is something that we've used with students in the program that I work with in the Get Ready program. So this is just kind of a cool way to track yourself and check in.
So on the other side of your green sheet, you can create a health goal for the week.
Oh.
And there are also some takeaway prizes if you have a special little note on your green sheet.
So if we're looking for some things on the front of your green sheet.
Like what?
Up in the corner. What do you have, Melissa?
Yes.
What do you have? PS. Oh, guess what? You get a brand new pair of socks to help you on your wellness. They're brand new, I promise. Anybody else have one? DR, you get this do-rag/headband from Minskew Schools so you can sweat it off, girl. That was a terrible girl. SH, you get, oh my gosh, this is an amazing prize. I found this in our storeroom. It's University of St. Thomas, not the island t-shirt. I don't even know what year those were sent out, but anyway. So, as we kind of wanted to wrap up, if there's questions or things that you're interested or that you just want to know about campus recreation and activities.
So under this job, I don't know if it's like a real job announcement or just the one you found as an example, but under the salary it says like there's quite a difference, like 51 to 86,000. That's pretty massive. What gets you to that higher realm? Like what different? You know what I'm saying? Like what?
Yeah, there's different. So depending on if you're the directors are going to end up being on that high end, and most of the time those directors are people that are seeking further education, and then. There's you have the director, you have the assistant director, and you have assistant directors on campus recreation, on facilities. So you have a real breakdown. Some of the other jobs are like maintenance coordinator, skating coordinator, marketing coordinator, administrative assistant. So there's going to be a range. But too, I think to recognize and point out that campus recreation activities offers a plethora of jobs to students. So even if you're maybe not physically able to participate in a sport, there are things or an activity, there are things that you could do around that, whether it's being a scorekeeper or a referee. So it's very reaching out more than if you are just physically able to do a sport. There's still ways to partake in that with intramurals and other jobs offered on campus.
I would think too, like, if you have a huge.
Have you seen any
university, it's
initiatives
just-
for like recreation in those who maybe have like physical disabilities at all? Because I think that's probably one of the harder things that maybe recreational services are facing. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's true, but.
I know that there's this more of this push, especially for aquatics, and that seems to be more of an inclusive area where even if you don't have the use of one of your limbs, that if you're, obviously it's only at certain facilities, at certain schools, but that was something that I talked about too and said, how is this becoming more accessible? So I think looking at things like that, and it's unfortunate, but I think a lot of it depends on at your institution and what facility type equipment, machines and things are there. I think so. I think as there's more of a flux of people that come in, that there hopefully is more accommodations made.
I'm gonna call time.
No.
Sorry, you guys. Okay, thank you, good job.
Thank you.